He knew what he wanted in life.
Right.
And he wasn't there to be wasting his time, to be hooking up with women and, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. Um, and so, he came to me, after we'd been dating for a little while and was like, I want you to be the mother of my children. I want to
Hell
marry
yeah.
you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
That's
Like,
good
will
masculinity
you?
right there. That's
I
good.
know,
This is
my
what I want.
gosh.
And you're
Yes.
like, this is what I've been needing. I'm like,
Exactly. It was a match
yes.
made in heaven.
Yeah.
Yes. He's like, I want you to be the mother of my children. Like, let's
Yeah.
start having a baby. And I was like,
That's total opposite of
I
what
was
you were
like,
used to.
you're
Like,
tripping. Well, you know what happened is I took him to Guatemala
uh-huh.
to kind of like feel him out and see, how he'd be
Yeah.
with like, our culture, because that was
Yeah.
important to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And of course he fell in love with Guatemala,
Yeah.
who doesn't? He's like, he
Yeah.
loved it. And he met some of the family and stuff. And on that trip, he's like, I can't imagine like spending the rest of my life without you.
Wow.
Like, let
Hell
have a baby with me. I want you to be the mother of my child. And I was like, you're tripping. Like we are just on this on this high right now because we're traveling. Like, stop
Yeah.
being silly. And he's like, I'm serious. I was like, okay.
Well,
He's like, no, I'm
let me ask
completely
you
serious.
something. So when you were saying that you tripping, was it you almost like a protective mechanism for yourself? Like,
Yeah,
no, I want this to be true, but
definitely.
and then when you
Yeah.
accepted it, you're like, yes. Well, yeah.
Yeah, because my trust was
Yeah.
still very broken. I was
Of course.
still,
Of course.
trust takes a long time. Those
Yeah.
wounds can take a long time to heal. So he
Yeah.
knew like I was still navigating that. Um, and also feeling like, is this too perfect? Like I don't want to repeat the same mistakes,
Yeah.
with, rushing into stuff. Um, but I took that leap of faith, which is
Yeah.
really what it was. And I remember, I think before leading up to the trip to Guatemala, I was praying about it. And I said, Lord, if this man is the one who's meant for me, if he's the one who's meant to be my forever love, my husband, the father of my children, then make that clear, and
Yeah.
let this bond between us grow stronger.
Mm.
And if he's not the one meant for me, then show me all the red flags immediately and
Yeah.
let this thing between us fizzle out.
That's a good
And I
prayer. That's
prayed
a good
about
prayer.
that every single night. I prayed about that
That's a
for a
good prayer. I
while.
love that. I love that. Women
Yeah,
take notes. That's a good prayer.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Because I couldn't entertain something that, at that point that wasn't going to be intentional,
Yeah.
and real. Um, and quickly, quickly after I was, praying about it, I feel like the Lord sometimes give me such like strong and clear answers when I pray. I feel like my prayers are very powerful. Everyone's prayers are powerful, but
Yeah.
and that bond just like deepened like, to what it is
Wow.
today, you know.
Wow.
And so I talked about that in our wedding vows. Like I, talked about how there was a lot of chatter in my ear from all around about like, making the right decision and how, I don't have a great track record because of mistakes I made and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well,
Mm.
I'm not going to listen to any of that because I have faith in the Lord and I
Yep.
have faith in, you know, where God is leading me. That is what I'm going to trust and follow.
Yeah.
And so I let that lead me and, agreed to marry him and like be in this relationship with him and have his child. And it has been the greatest thing that has ever happened to me.
Oh, wow. I love
And
it.
nothing else like in my life matters or has mattered up until this point. And I am the happiest that I've ever been in my life.
Yeah.
And I am just,
Praise
yeah,
Jesus.
and it's not just about something that like women need to wake up from is like this idea that like we're supposed to be like happy all the time and like
Yeah.
like everything is like in marriage is about like making the woman happy, catering to the woman. It's about what can I give? Like I'm stepping into my life's purpose by like giving of myself to my
Yeah.
husband and to my baby and being of service. And for people to think that that is a waste of our, of our experience on this earth, a waste of our like skills or abilities is
Hmm.
the biggest lie ever.
It is. Yeah.
Um, that and thinking that marriage is just intended to cater to your emotions 100% of the time,
Yeah.
and
It's
that
like
the
they think
moment that it doesn't,
it's like an institution to serve women. No, it's not. It's
it's
not.
not. No,
It's not.
no, it's a way for us to give of ourselves, and that is
Not only
the
that,
most
I
beautiful and
see
most fulfilling thing ever.
it's a representation of Jesus' relationship with the church. It's the foundation for everything. For every, I mean, you can have societies that function on a really dysfunctional level with sin and a lot of, I mean, we used to, not us, but yeah, our ancestors used to sacrifice and give it to the
Hmm.
god. They had a society that was functioning, but it was blood, war, evil. So if you want a healthy, well-meaning society where everybody's fulfilled, maybe not happy, but fulfilled, you need that Christian, what Jesus taught, his relationship with the church. The husband is the head, the wife is the body.
Yeah,
And what did the head of our church was Jesus Christ? We submit to him, but what did he do for us? He died for us. So the husband is supposed to die for his wife and his family, but in respect and in return, the wife submits and respects the husband. And when it's that, it works well. Nobody can say that the church disrespects Christ and that Christ disrespects the church. No way. And that's the reflection. When people understand that and they respect that, God's like, cool. Foundation for society is built. Now let me pour into that. And he'll just add, he'll add,
exactly.
he'll move people out, get out of the way, get out of the way. This is my church. This family is my church, and I'll protect them. You have a force field around you, you know what I mean? And it's there put by God. But as soon as that dynamic gets flipped on its head, we have free will, then
Yeah,
that protection or whatever you want to call it starts to
exactly.
deteriorate. And then
Yep,
you invite the evil in.
100%.
So it's like when people finally understand that, it's not for the woman, it's not, it's a reflection of God's design for us here. And it serves God and it serves children too. Marriage is for God and for children and for the
Yes,
betterment of all of us. It's not just for me,
yes.
it's not just for you, it's for everybody involved. And I'll tell you something, everybody that we've allowed into our lives, me and my wife, not to say that we're like a blessing for them, but they benefit from the relationship. I'm
Hmm.
telling you, my wife is the type of woman that every single man that I know that knows her would give their life to protect her. Not just me.
Hmm.
Every man that knows my wife would defend her with their lives. That's strength. That's the power of true femininity because we
Yes.
serve others, right?
Yeah.
That's what marriage is.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had to say it.
No,
But go ahead.
no, please, please,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, my husband, very early on in dating got me to start going to church every Sunday.
Mhm.
So like, ladies, you need to look out for signs like that, signs that this is a godly man
Yeah.
and that, because that is something that you can build a very stable you know, future with,
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the happiest that I've ever been with my
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
Um, and you know how I was talking about like with my ex-husband, like those like kind of instinctual, like primitive feelings that were coming up in me that
Mhm.
like I didn't ask, to start feeling like this desire to like submit to his leadership and to follow him and to, be nurtured and taken care of like in my femininity. But at some point for I'll say most women, almost
I,
all women,
I
that's
think
a
the vast
natural,
majority, the
yes, the vast
vast
majority
majority.
of women, that is part of our biological like process that's like natural and to
Yeah.
not fight that.
Yeah.
And to have a man like who can understand that. And I think, hearing you talk about, your wife and, how the women in your life are the most like blissful, just happy women because this should not be controversial, but
Hmm.
women are meant to submit to their husbands. Wives are meant to submit to their husbands. I think that it's like, especially, of course, in these kind of more woke circles, like that is like blasphemy to say.
Yeah.
But
People will wish death on you for that. Just for that. They will
yeah,
literally want to see you die. You can't tell me that's not demonic. That's demonic to think that
yeah.
way.
Hmm.
They'd want to see your whole life destroyed just for uttering God's truth. That's his design. But when
Yeah.
women
And
submit
that's
to men,
perfect.
men will die for them. That's the exchange. When
Exactly.
a woman truly
Exactly.
submits and cooperates with a man and becomes like his almost like his counselor in a safe place,
Hmm.
that man will die for he'll slay a dragon for her. My
Yes, he
wife,
will.
when I struggle with certain things, I'm like, I need give me some advice. And her, she's so opposite of me in her femininity. The way she thinks is something I could never think of. And she always brings me clarity. Always I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. She's my
Yeah.
wisest counselor. I have men in my
Yes.
life that deal with man things that, I don't want her to bother her with. But for those other deep, deep things, I need my wife, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But if we were competing, it just would never
No,
work.
no,
So
it doesn't work. No,
submission
that'd
is
be
not, it's not,
miserable.
submission means you trust him to make the hard choices, even if you
Yes.
don't believe in it. And trust him and encourage him when he doesn't believe it. Because man, we doubt ourselves. And when the wife submits and trusts, she'll be like, I believe in you. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out. My wife told me one time, she's like, I don't care if we're in a box. I'm with you till the end.
Mm. That's
Oh,
admirable.
that's never gonna happen. And she means it. And she means it. She's proven to me. I mean, I've known her since I was 11, so that helps. But yeah, submissionism, it takes strength because the woman has to restrain her fear and
Yeah.
trust the man. And then when you do that, God will witness that cooperation and he'll bless you.
Yes. Yep,
He'll
he will.
allow opportunities for us to go against what he wants and to trust ourselves over him. And when we do that, we make a mistake. And the hardest thing to do is to let go of control. And for a man,
And
we
surrender.
have our struggles where we need to submit to him, and it's really hard. I'm still working on that. And the woman submits to the man. When in my opinion, one of the greatest evils in this world that I've seen is when you have a man who's trying to follow the teachings of Christ, trying to build that relationship with God, and they meet a woman, and that woman says, well, I'm the priority.
Hmm.
Me. So what she does is she pushes God out of the way and said, no, I'm your God now. So no longer the man is trying to follow him, he's trying to appease her. She's literally usurping the authority and the purpose God has given that man and placing herself. That is evil. That is
Yep.
evil because God made us men and women for purposes, but men were designed to fight. And if we can't fight these battles for God's people because some woman came and got in the middle of that, I don't know what's more evil than that. I mean, there's a lot of things that are evil, but that's one of the most evil
Yep.
things. And I have
Yeah.
3 sons, and I've taught them this. And I don't know
Yeah.
who they're gonna find in marriage here, but we'll see. That's why I told you we're probably going to Belize. We're gonna go check out Belize.
Oh my
We're gonna
gosh.
tour all of South America because I am family first. I want my kids to have a bunch of babies, but they need wives first. So I'm so
Yeah.
happy women like you are waking up. But I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
took over the conversation again. Go ahead.
No, no, I love it. Yeah. Um, yeah. Another thing that really woke me up from feminism ideology is seeing all of my, feminist friends, even the ones who, are not radical, they're
Yeah.
just, I guess just kind of an average, married woman who, you know, go on to have children that they're still pretty miserable,
Yeah.
you know? They're miserable and just the disharmony with their husbands, in the household and crying like 6 weeks postpartum when they have to go back to work. Their
Oof.
breasts are full of milk and engorged and they have to go and leave their baby all day. I'm
Oh,
like,
that's
that
horrible.
is evil, but they tell themselves, um, well, I'm a career woman too,
Yeah.
and so this just brainwashing that um a woman should do it all and can do it all is ridiculous. And our children and our future generations are suffering for it.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
baby is not supposed to be separated from its primary caregiver,
No way.
the mom.
Wow.
Um, and that's a whole other, we could go on and on just about that
Yeah.
piece of it, like the daycare
Yeah.
situations and the, um, just this uh, feminist dependence on the government to fix this problem for them. Like thinking that, well, if the government, subsidized daycare and if they gave more time for maternity leave, and it's like, since when has the government ever, stepped in to, help us, do what we need to do in those ways? Like
Yeah.
that's no. what would be better for us all is to uplift men to be into higher paying positions so that they can take care of their wives and their children.
Yeah.
So another thing that I don't believe in anymore is the gender wage gap. I don't believe that that's real.
No, it's not real. Not at all.
No, it's not real.
That was such a dumb
And
study that they did.
yeah,
It's
and
been
so
debunked a million times already.
yeah. People like will die on that hill though, they'll talk about it. And something from again Suzanne Spanker's podcast that I heard one time was someone saying like, yeah, we talk about how unfair it is that men like may make more money in some field or that men are at the kind of some of the highest level positions, in
Mhm.
any type of, company or government organization or whatever. And then on the flip side of that, we women expect men to provide for them and buy them nice things and to, pay for all this stuff and support them postpartum. And it's like, how can you be against that and then want the
Yeah,
other? Make it make
yeah,
sense, please, because
yeah,
it does not make sense.
yeah.
Um,
None of it makes
me-
sense.
yeah.
It's
So
so out of whack.
men should be in higher paying positions, um, so that more women can stay at home and be with their children and not depend on a government to fix this problem for us because it's not going to work.
Yeah, yeah. It's obviously, the people in charge, the powers that be, are definitely influenced by a lot of evil, and that's a whole nother wormhole. I mean,
Yeah.
this topic that we're speaking about, feminism and all that, is just one thing that I've dug into deep. My wife, so she did security investigative work when we first got together at a prison. So she loves research. So
Hmm.
she's got a wealth of knowledge, but she doesn't like to talk like me. So what I'm thinking, because my schedule has changed, I'm being home more, so I want to do more videos, talk to as many people as I can. I want to try to dig into that and share as much information as I can. I mean, for you, I would love to hear your journey. You got your little boy. He's 18 months, you said, right?
Yes.
So okay,
Yes.
how soon before summer
Yeah.
comes? And will you
Oh,
come visit us over here? Because I don't want to go to
yes.
California.
I know.
Because
I
I'm
know.
curious. I would love with you to see what life is like in a couple of years, what you've learned. Because now that you're on this journey, there's no stopping you. You're going to
No.
discover more. The layers of deception, be it the public school, the pharmaceuticals, the education system. It's every institution that we rely on is corrupted and it's
Yes.
infiltrated and it's been taken over and it's designed to destroy what God wants us to do. I know this for a fact. There's no denying it once you see it, and you're going to start uncovering this stuff. So, as your journey comes
Absolutely.
along, oh, I would love to hear more and more.
Uh,
I
yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if eventually you guys leave California. I would not be surprised.
Oh, we want to. We
Yeah,
absolutely want to. And then the part of that is always like, we're close with my mom and my siblings. And
yeah.
that would be hard. That is
Of
really the
course.
only thing keeping us here.
Yeah.
That's the only
That's
reason why we're
what
here.
usually what everybody is the family, of course, grandma. And
Yeah.
well,
And
you
my
could,
mom is so happy being an abuelita.
I bet,
She's
I bet.
so, yeah. It's been sweet to see, her kind of getting to like almost relive like her motherhood journey when
Yeah,
things were so hard for her and my dad made her work and all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so
But
it's sweet for her.
when I tell people, like I've talked to women before. I got out of sales. I used to do sales because I was making too many women mad. Because I can't help the things. Some of the things I say, they're just offensive, and I'm not trying to be. So a lot of the conversations I would have would be women that didn't have kids. I don't want to have kids. I don't have kids. I don't have kids. And I would say, like, look, we all know what love is. You love your mom, you love your siblings, whatever. But until you have a child, that's a divine love that you cannot describe. Why would you deny yourself that? And then they would say things
Mm,
like, well, I have a dog. I love my dog. And I'm like, you think you love your dog as much as I love my kids? And and that would make people mad. I'm like, the greatest form of love, it's a love you can't turn off for your children,
yeah.
right? So, and that's been robbed from men and women. Men
Hmm.
now on the end of feminism was a sexual liberation. Men want sex. It's just how it is. I teach my sons to have discipline and everything. I mean, two of them are barely even not even teenagers yet. The other one's grown, but him too. He's only had two girlfriends his whole life. He's 23. I teach them
Hmm.
sexual discipline. So men have become extra promiscuous and they're overstimulating. That's all they think about. So that
Hmm.
works against marriage and God's design. And women have been
Yeah.
taught to offer it up and to hate men. It's like
Yeah.
you have a woman that's had a lot of partners, yet she hates men at the same time. It's so crazy. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like everything that would promote and nurture what God wants has been attacked. And I think
Absolutely.
we need to fight it by not participating in those systems
Yep.
and having a bunch of kids and praising God. I mean, right? That's what
Yes.
we do.
Yep.
Have a bunch of
That's
kids,
what we're doing.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's incredible, all these friends that just, disappeared from my life once I had that baby,
really,
who just weren't there for that journey, couldn't resonate with it. And I'm like, I'm so sorry for you. That's
wow,
sad, that something
that
so
sucks.
beautiful, the most beautiful experience that a woman could ever go through. That
Wow, they
people
weren't
have
like
been,
they didn't come see, visit the baby,
no,
nothing.
a lot didn't
Jeez.
know.
Well,
And no, these
that was a
are,
good filter.
yeah,
That baby filtered out the bad people.
it did. Yeah. All the radical feminists who are, attached to their misery and their
Yeah.
anger and their hatred towards men, and
Mhm.
who then on the flip side cry about being lonely and wanting a boyfriend. It's
And
like,
then they blame men for that too.
yeah.
It's because all the men are pigs. There's no good men, but I hate men. It's like,
What do you expect you're going to attract if that's the
yeah,
message that you're putting out there?
yeah,
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 it's very sad. So
yeah.
yes, motherhood is the absolute parenthood, I think, is the absolute greatest thing that could happen to anybody. And my
Of course.
husband, I feel like his destiny in life was to be a father. Like I've never seen a father like that. Like it's just the most beautiful thing. Um, and the peace that I have in my life now because I have a strong man leading me, a strong man to lean into, who helps me
Mm.
feel strong. And the way that he's thriving off of that, and the way that God has blessed us, our union and our family, my husband is making more money now than he's ever made in his life. The
Praise
happiest he's
Jesus.
ever been, thriving.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
And it's just
Oh,
blessing
I
after
love it.
blessing
I love that.
after blessing and just abundance and love. And, you know,
Yeah.
we could not be more blessed. Like we lack nothing, absolutely nothing.
I
And
love it. Oh, Prima, that makes me so happy because
yeah,
my heart, I have such a big heart for young men because I see both sides. I understand how women have been deceived and some I could reach, some just hate me, whatever. This I don't care. But men are drawn to me and I speak to them all the time and they all just want somebody they can make proud. The man just wants a woman to fight
mhm.
for and to be with and to serve.
Yes.
And they're willing to take whatever they can to get that. And I have two friends that killed themselves because of those type of situations. I got a friend that wife divorced him because he worked too much, took the baby, took his stuff.
Mm,
He fell into depression, was working. He was a contractor, got hurt. The doctor gave him, opiates, got addicted to that. Ex-wife disappeared with the baby. They didn't know what happened. They left 2 states over. By the time he found out, he had lost all privileges. He just died in a bottle. He just drank and popped pills.
oh,
I have a friend that tried to hang himself. I got stories and stories on the end, and these guys did what they were told to do. Happy wife, happy life. The wife says, work and buy me this. Okay, wife. The wife says, you need to
no.
be more romantic. Okay, wife. They're like, do this, do that, do that. And ultimately, he's not leading her. So that respect is gone. And they find, I have a theory because most of my friends that lost their wives lost it to the bad boy. Here's my theory. Like when your husband was like, I want you to be a mother of my baby, he took charge. You're like,
Mhm.
oh, right. He was being a leader, he was being assertive. There's a lack of assertive, strong men that are willing to say what needs to be said in society.
Hmm.
So the
Yep.
guys who are stepping in place of that are the bad boys. Because the bad boy will be like, whatever, I don't care. Shut up. Come over here tonight. They'll just be assertive, but in a toxic way. And
Yeah.
there's such a desire in women to have that assertiveness. They're going for the bad boys. So I'm
Yeah.
saying, men, say what's on your heart. If you don't like it, say no. Like, no, you're
Yeah.
moving here. This is what we're going to do, and I'll take care of you. I don't want you
Yeah.
to work. I want you to be a mother. I want you to have 10 of my kids. Remove the bad boy aspect and leave the assertiveness. And this is what I teach my sons. The women who have good intentions will respect it and they'll be like, I'm safe. I'm going to stay with him, right? The girls who are troublesome and just want you to put them on a pedestal will see themselves at the door. So
Yeah.
I love the fact that, my little cousin, you have a good strong. I want to meet him. Yeah, where is he right now?
Yes.
Is he?
He's building me garden beds.
He's doing some man stuff.
He
Yes,
is
I
doing,
love
he's
it.
always doing man stuff. Yeah, especially for
Well,
me. Yeah.
are you good?
I just have a few last
Go
points
for it.
that
Go for it.
I want to leave a message to
Yes,
women,
ma'am.
any
Yes.
woman watching this. It doesn't matter if you're right wing, left wing,
Uh-huh.
wherever you are at in your life and your journey. My biggest things that I wish that I had known, or that don't be afraid of your fertility. Your fertility is not something to fear. It's not something to mask and to hide away. And that I spent a lot of my life in Guatemala in rural villages where people have like very little money. And let me tell you, you do not need much to have a baby. Okay. Our culture and our society will tell you that you need all these things. Like I said, you don't need the swivel halo bassinet. You don't need this, that, and the other. Okay. There's really no reason to wait if you got, you're in the relationship that's, that you're meant to be in and all that. Don't be afraid. Do not fear. People since the beginning of time have been having babies in like not perfect circumstances, and we've been brainwashed to think that, oh, I need to have, the house, I need to have X amount of dollars in the bank, I need to have this and that. And abortion rates have just skyrocketed, because of that, because we think that, oh, it's not the right time, things aren't perfect. There's no
Yeah.
such thing as perfect. There's no such thing as, there's always going to be the goalpost is always
Hmm.
going to move farther.
Hmm.
Okay.
The
You don't
carrot's
have to
always
wait.
being dangled.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of advice is even if you're maybe at your point in your journey now, you're unsure if you're going to have kids, um, and you want to have a career, okay, cool, go have your career, but leave space in there for you to have children. Don't corner yourself so that you're going to be, stuck and in a place where you're not going to be able to give yourself that flexibility, or your husband isn't, going to be able to, provide for you and take care of you in that way. So keep an open mind. Don't, make babies the priority in your life plan. And then the last thing is just that, nothing will fulfill you more than marriage and motherhood. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you go and feed orphans in some other country. Nothing in this life will fulfill you more than having babies and submitting to your husband
Yes.
and being under his leadership. Um, that is, um, that is our paradise on earth that God gave
Yeah.
us.
Yes.
That
So
is where
true.
we get to be ourselves fully and authentically. Um, so don't
I
forget
love
that.
it. I got an idea.
Yeah.
If your husband's up to it, maybe next week or something like that, if he wants to give me his testimony, because as a man, I'm sure he's had a journey. I don't know if he grew up in the church, but it seems like most men I talked to fell away
He
and came
didn't,
back.
yeah.
There we go. See that
Mhm.
story of whatever story he has, and now he became victorious through Christ and through having a beautiful wife. I mean, we got to share that story too. Talk to him, let him know. Give him my number, tell him to text me, and we can get his story next. And then I'm trying to do 3 weekends out of the month. I'm trying to get testimonies from as many people as I
Amazing.
can. I'm actually going to start. We're making some shirts and hats and stuff, and 20% of everything I sell, I'm just going to give it to Christian charities. So I'm also looking to talk to people who run Christian organizations who are looking for money. I want to interview them, share their stories, whatever. If I could get monetized one day, 20% of whatever I make through this, I'm just going to give it to Christian charities. I've let go of a lot of the business ideas I had. I'm just working a job that gives us enough here at home and a little extra. And the rest of my energy and effort is going into this. Share people's stories,
Beautiful.
try to make money for the kingdom, and that's it. That's part of me being submissive and trying to use my talents for God, no longer for the world, for God. So talk to
Yep.
your husband.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to reach out to me and just, talk about their journey, you can find me at Pain Free Nutrition by Reyna on Instagram.
Hallelujah. Yeah, text that to me and then I'll put it
I will.
on the video too. Okay, prima? Okay, cool. I'll
Perfect.
let you go.
All
I
right.
love you.
Te
Talk to your
cuidas.
husband. Tell him to text me. Okay?
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
All
Bye.
right. See ya.